Talk Real Estate with Sharon McNamara, sponsored by Boston Connect Real Estate Services.
Hi, I'm Sharon McNamara, and you are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. Let me share a little bit about my background before we get started. I am the broker-owner of Boston Connect Real Estate, a boutique real estate firm that is home to over 30 real estate sales and marketing consultants who service home buyers and home sellers throughout Boston, the South Shore, the South Coast, and Cape Cod. Our firm takes pride in assisting our clients in the next chapter of their lives by taking a holistic approach to their real estate endeavors. We believe that every move should be a moving experience. Every week, my real estate team member, Mary Baker, and I, along with the director of Boston Connect Real Estate, Melissa Wallace, provide you with our unique marketing approach to selling homes and share with you our expertise in navigating the home buying process. We like to mix it up sometimes, so not only will you hear our perspective on real estate topics, but you will hear the expert thoughts and opinions of some of our real estate agents at Boston Connect Real Estate and the preferred professionals that we trust. Be part of our roundtable. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We'd love to talk real estate. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you listen to podcasts at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team or one of the dedicated agents at Boston Connect Real Estate to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with us at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate. And good morning to all my South Shore neighbors. This is Sharon McNamara, and you are, of course, listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable here on a Saturday morning on WATD. We are live in our home studio here at Boston Connect Real Estate, which is the sponsor of our show, as well as the Sharon and Mary real estate team. I am in-house this morning, and I have Melissa Wallace with us. Good morning.
Hello. How are you?
I am doing fabulous. Thank you for asking. And we also have Tim in studio. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning, Sharon. Good morning, Melissa. If you could turn up your mic just a tiny bit, Melissa.
Okay, that sounds good. I think she just wasn't really in front of it quite yet. So
come on now, Melissa.
Probably,
Let's not start off this way. Come on.
Hey, I came in and it was already unplugged. I said, is someone trying to sabotage me?
I can tell you that was not me.
That was me. I was taking a picture with Emmy Flaherty's dog Ruby the other day with the microphones and headphones.
Oh boy,
that's why that happened.
But at least the course didn't get chewed on. That's good. Nice.
No, not at all. So, yes, so we are in studio. We're going to actually continue on with our conversation that we started last week and just sort of the requirements and things to do for if you are thinking about selling your home. So we want to talk about that and just sort of the requirements, things you can do, things you can think about doing, all that jazz. But I do want to put a little PSA out there if I could. Public service announcement.
Yeah. An SOS.
SOS, yeah. So Melissa, I love here. She went to opening day at Red Sox, which is fabulous that she got that opportunity to do that. She went with Sam Horton, who's one of our agents, as well as Mary Baker, who's our team member. And it was really, really cold, as everybody knows, and her hands got really, really, really cold. And generally what happens when your hands get cold, your rings get loose. And she had, yes. So she had on a clatter ring, and the clatter ring itself, the value of that, the monetary value of that is minimal in comparison to what it means to her heart. Yes. So her Nana had given that to her for her 25th birthday, and it meant so much to her. So I put a post out on my Facebook page. So if you want to go to Sharon Costa McNamara, forward it. I tagged the Red Sox. I tagged Fenway Park. We have, I had over 40 people share it, and people are sharing from people share. If you found it, you can, again, the value that you have is not going to be the value that it means to her. So we're really hoping that you will call us and let us know. I am happy to give a reward if that's what it takes for you to give this precious gem back to our Melissa. And you want to tell everybody where you were sitting?
Yeah, so let me bring up I thought I was in one section, and Mary's like, no, we're here. There's, so we were in the HP Pavilion Club 1. We were in row 5. I was in seat 13. So it was
sort of fitting.
Why?
Lucky 13.
Oh,
no, that stinks.
Well, was not a lucky day for sure. But yeah, so and I had never been in this section. I mean, we walked in and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like a celebrity. They had like a private bar and, a buffet and a bunch of, tables and a lot of, people in there. And then our section, we were in the last row, but the last row has a counter. And so we were like sitting in stools and had a counter and watched the game. And at one point we walked down, it was only 5 rows, but we walked down to the first row, when they were doing the national anthem and everything. And we just, I don't know, we had a really great time, and it was a really great section. I'd never been in there before. I thought, I said, I felt like I was like a celebrity over there. So I, at some point between getting there and leaving, because I have a picture of us leaving and I zoomed in on my hand and my ring is gone. So at some point when I was there, it fell off. I kept saying all throughout the day, I'm only the only part of me that's cold is my hand. So I was always looking at my hand. So I don't know. At one point, I don't know if I looked at my hand and it wasn't there, but I feel like I would have noticed. But unfortunately, I didn't notice it was gone until I got home. So. But yeah, we've been putting it on social media. You started it, and then somebody had texted me and said, "Oh my gosh, your ring!" And I was like, "Oh, did something happen? Did somebody put something out there?" So I put something out there. Mine's been shared 100 times. Everybody, I feel like I have. I didn't know I knew so many people who knew somebody who worked there or knew how to get in there or anything. So I feel like there's going to be a search and rescue meetup team.
Yeah, this is going to be. Yeah, there's going to be 50 people surrounding that whole area.
And they're going to be like, "You are looking for the ring. You're looking for the ring."
But if you did find it, please call us. at the office, or actually, Melissa, why don't you give your cell phone number?
So my cell phone is 781-534-1921. 781-534-1921. This is the first time I've been able to talk about it without crying, so if I have to take a step back, that's why. But it has no value to anybody other than me, and I have a picture on Facebook, so you can see it on Sharon's or mine or anybody who has shared it. So
perfect. All right. So again, that's an SOS for Melissa's clatter ring that she unfortunately lost at the opening day of the Red Sox the other day. So we've tagged Red Sox and Fenway. So I don't know. In my heart of hearts, I feel like we're going to find it.
Yeah, I filed a claim, and I have to give credit to the guy I spoke to at Fenway, because he didn't know what a clatter ring was. He didn't understand what I was saying, and I was like, "Please excuse me. It's very emotional for me. I'm crying, but I'll explain it to you. It's the 2 hands." And he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah. I've seen those before." It was very kind. So
nice.
Hopefully
awesome.
He calls me.
Yeah, perfect. So. We are going to, again, get on backtrack with what we were talking about last week. And we are live on Facebook, so you can go to Boston Connect Real Estate and you can find us there. If you have any questions, you can ask them there. Anything to do with real estate, it doesn't have to be about our topic that we have today. Or you can call the studio and Tim will pipe you right on over to us in our home studio. The phone number at WATD is 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. So if you have any questions about our topic or any other topic, feel free to call in. Mike McNamara had his show on earlier today, McNamara on Money, and he had a loan officer on with him, Jeremy, I forget his last name. Do you remember? Devaney, that's it. Yep, Jeremy Devaney. And he was wonderful, and he gave a lot of great tips on there. And I'm going to be on next weekend with Alyssa on their show, which will carry on to our show for the whole time next week. And I invited him to come too. So I was on for about a half hour with them this morning, which was fun and interesting. And good job on the train sound. Made me laugh. So, all right, you want to take it from there, Mel?
Yeah, so we're just going to be sort of continuing on with our discussion from last week. So things that you, as a seller, are sort of considerations when you're putting your house on the market. So we always generally talk about, okay, this is sort of the process, but we want to sort of get more in detail with preparing your home and sort of being prepared to be asked for certain things, whether it's some sort of certificate or an inspection of some sort. And we're actually going to be talking about pre-inspections too. Sharon, you had a couple people on, and their names are escaping me, I apologize, but a few weeks ago from Clubhouse that you met, and they were sort of from all over the country.
Yeah.
And I think 2 were into pre-home inspections and 2 weren't. And then there was us when we were like, what?
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that too.
Yeah.
But
that was really interesting. I know some things too. It's interesting when I do listen to Clubhouse every morning is, having the different perspectives from different agents in different states. So the 2 agents, one was from Atlanta, one is from Pennsylvania, and they both do pre-home inspections. But then there was one of the agents who was down south of Florida. She does not. It seems like people from like the California, it seems like the Sand States maybe do them. Like some people in Florida do them, some people out in California do them. And then there was one woman that was talking, she's from New York, and a couple of us from the Boston area were talking, and we're like, yeah, we just don't. And my thought on that is because Massachusetts is a caveat emptor state, which is buyer beware. It doesn't mean that things don't have to be disclosed, right? So if you are a seller and you know of a defect in your home, you are responsible to tell your real estate agent about that so we can disclose it. I know sometimes when I'm listing a house, people will ask me questions and I'll be like, I really do not know the answer to that. I will ask the seller. I've never lived here.
Yeah.
It's a problem with the states as well sometimes because, they haven't lived in their parents' house in years.
Yeah, but, when you are listing the house, and so say you're the listing agent and your client comes to you and says, oh, I want to sell this house. I've never lived in this house. You put that right into MLS. So everybody who is looking at that property, whether it's through MLS or a third-party site, they can see, seller has never occupied the home, buyer's due diligence.
Due diligence, yeah, which is hard. I mean, I hate putting that in there, the buyer and buyer's agents to do their due diligence, but with us being that caveat emptor state, I mean, it is your responsibility to make sure. It's my responsibility as a listing agent to tell you everything I know about a property.
Yeah.
And I do, but I don't know. I mean, a lot of times I don't know who the sellers are either, so I don't know if they're being truthful. And you can't hide defects. Like, don't go and try to hide a defect, because I promise you this, it will be found.
Yeah. If you put a rug down over something that you don't want anybody to see, well, guess what? You're going to take that rug with you when you leave, and they're not going to be happy.
Yeah. And the other thing, I remember when we had Steve Cook on. Steve was the previous owner of Imperial Inspection Services. And when we had him on the show, I remember asking him, do people try to hide things? And he's like, oh, yeah. I mean, he's not really allowed to touch anything when he's in somebody's property, but he said, one of the things he used to do is, in the kitchen, if they had, a bunch of papers sort of scattered, he would just sort of, move the papers over to put his papers down, and there have been times where he's found, big burn marks in the counters, I want to say Formica. Are they Formica? It's been so long since...
I don't know.
It hasn't been granite or quartz. I don't even know. I think it was Formica. Yeah. So he would see things like that, like the one that you just brought up. They put the, a runner or something over a cracked tile, or
or even I'm just thinking of a house that we both saw where it had pine wood flooring, but they had this big rug over a lot of it, and we lifted the rug up, and all of that, everything underneath the rug had been replaced, and it wasn't pine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looked like plywood. What do you? Yeah, it wasn't even hardwood.
Yeah, it was
plywood.
Easy access to the basement. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think Mark figured that out though.
Yeah,
that, it probably was that way there. So. One of the things that some companies do is a seller disclosure. And again, we'd love to have your perspective on this too. If you are thinking about selling, or if you are a buyer, what's your perspective on this? 781-837-4900, or you can catch us on Boston Connect Real Estate on our Facebook page. We'd love for you to follow us, and you can ask us questions there. But some companies do have the seller disclosure, and we as a company opted not to do that. Mm-hmm. And I remember the original, because the state of Massachusetts has the seller disclosure, and one of the original forms, it had that the agent and broker had to sign that disclosure. And I always felt very uncomfortable doing that because I don't know.
You've never lived in that house.
Yeah, I don't know if my client is lying to me. I'm hoping that they're not.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So that's why I don't do them here. And one of my other worries is that I think it's too easy. That's one aspect of it. But I always go back to some of the trainings that we've had. And, okay, if I disclosed all these things and something else comes up, would a buyer be like, it's interesting to me that you knew that you had a crack in your foundation, but you didn't tell us that you had radon. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe the seller didn't know, but it just appears differently.
So, with radon, like, you don't know until you know, I feel like. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to do an inspection for that. And there are a lot of people who don't think that they have radon or never really thought about it. And then a buyer comes in, does a radon test, and then it's high. Mm-hmm. So, now what? Do you do a mitigation system before? Do you give a credit? Do you just say, I got radon, I don't know what to tell you. But now you have to disclose it.
Exactly. Now you do have to disclose it. And, that's one of the things, too. I think in Massachusetts, and I doubt that Charlie Burke is listening, but and when I take his classes, Charlie owns Mass Academy of Real Estate, and he does a lot of CE classes and new agent classes and broker classes, is radon is not anything that's regulated by the state. Neither is mold. The only thing regulated by the state is lead paint and I think asbestos.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's interesting because if you have to disclose radon, but it's not regulated by the state.
Yeah, because it is a defect in the house and you know about it. So you still have to, you know what I mean?
Oh, I guess because you don't have, there's nothing that says that you have to get rid of it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it isn't like a state mandated type thing where lead paint has very many, they have very serious rules. That's what I wanted to talk to Mary about. We were looking at a listing the other day and they attached the lead paint disclosure, and the agent who filled it out
Filled it out wrong.
And we were sitting with a client and I was like, guess how much that is for a penalty? And they're like, what? We're like $10,000 for the wrong check mark.
Yeah. So you should probably reach out to that agent.
I know, I want to, and I forgot because I was in the middle of a meeting and I was going to reach out to that agent and let that agent know that it was filled in incorrectly. It was not one of our agents here at Boston Connect Real Estate. I don't even know who. I don't even remember who the agent was, but I know it wasn't one of ours. So,
well, hopefully we remember the property. We can get back to that one.
Mary has a better memory than me, so perhaps she will. So with those disclosures, and with radon, like you said, it's. Yes, if you don't take care of it, then you have to tell the next person. So chances are no one's going to want to buy it with radon being in there. But you made a good point, too, is I think the seller is very surprised when they have radon. Do you know the other big, and I've talked about this before, after a home inspection, there's one item that sometimes comes up and the seller is shocked because when people know about this situation, they always take care of it. Do you know what I'm thinking?
Is it termites?
Yes.
I knew it.
Yeah, you're so smart.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's why I let you run the joint, right?
Yeah. Termites. Yeah. It was people don't know that they have termites.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean, I don't know. It doesn't mean that your house is not good or that, it's...
Well, in some cases, it could matter how long the termites have been there and how long they've been chewing.
Yeah. So it's sort of weird, and I feel like this is what happened to me at the game, where you look at something for so long that you don't realize that it's changed over time.
Yeah.
Like, you're just used to seeing it. So I feel like that happens a lot with termites, where they start to eat away at some stuff in the basement or whatever. But you walk by it to do the laundry, or you walk by it to do something like storage or whatever, and you're not really. It's almost like I think of it as I always drive home, but I'm never really thinking about driving. It's just like my body and my car just go that way, and then I'm there. It's like when you do something so many times and you don't really realize it.
Well, that's why one of the things I always suggest to my clients when they put their house on the market is to have somebody come in and professionally clean it, because we always swish the toilet bowl brush the same way. You know what I mean? So I think that people see things that we don't. But I know you have brought this up several times in many of our conversations here on the radio show, is that's why it's such a good idea to walk around the perimeter of your house, walk through your, like take a day to do that. We generally do talk about that every like daylight saving time. So when you turn your clocks ahead or back.
Yeah, and somehow it's April.
I know.
I don't know how.
I do not even know how. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful weather, though.
Yeah. Oh, it's April 1st. There we go. So that's a good idea, is to just go around your house, and maybe you'll pick up on those things. And maybe that's a good place to start. If you are thinking about putting your home on the market, do a little walk around. Today's a beautiful day to do that because it's so crappy outside. You can be inside. Just walk around with a notebook and notice things that maybe you didn't notice before. I can do it in my house all day long.
Yeah, well, it's a perfect day because it's raining, and you'll be able to see any leaking water.
Yeah,
that's why we love to do home inspections in the rain.
Yeah, and look at houses in the rain.
Yeah.
It's not a bad day to do that, because then you can see. I always tell the story one time showing, I used to be out on the road a lot more with buyers, and then Mary took that over for the most part. And I remember once asking, any seepage or water in the basement? Nope. And then we got there, and no lie, it was up to my ankles. And I was like, I guess the fishing is free. I don't know. Like, just tell me. I'm going to see it.
Lakeside property.
Yeah.
Indoor swimming pool.
Indoor swimming pool for real. But things do happen. I mean, water heaters go and things like that. So this was not the case in this situation.
Well, you also, if it has a sump pump, you want to make sure that it's working. And the only way to know that is if it's raining or there's some sort of water that is going to come into the house. And if it's bone dry, then it's,
Yeah.
It's good.
That's like when we bought this building, and I remember asking the agent, and he was a good agent, honestly. This has nothing to do with him. He was a great, great kid. He was newer in the business, and you know how I'd love to just sort of work with people like that, you know what I mean, help them along. And I remember asking, hey, can you just, ask the seller how often and, at what point was the water the highest in the basement? Because I could clearly see I did something that I never suggest to anybody. I did purchase this home without a home inspection, but I know a lot of people, so we had people walking through, and you can see the water lines, like where the water had come in previously. So this agent went back to the seller and asked the question, and they came back with, I never had water.
Yeah, it was a lie.
It was a total lie. And then I knew somebody who used to work in this building. She's a neighbor and a friend. And I was talking to her about it. I was like, can you just tell me, like, how much water did they? She's like, Sharon, it was up to our shins one time. And we were like, getting the water out. We have not had a drop. We need wood. Is this wood? Of water in this building since then, really. And they had the sump pump coming out into the window well and then back down. It was coming back into the house.
Yeah.
So it was like, that's why it happened. Literally, we had to move a pipe, and we haven't had water since.
No.
No water.
We have not had water. Yep. And we've redone that whole basement.
Yeah,
looks beautiful.
It's beautiful. With the disclosures, I wanted to talk about one thing about that too, because we're sort of talking about, what do you have to disclose, and then that seller's disclosure. And it is really important as a seller. If you know something, to just let us know. You're better off, because it will come up in the buyer's home inspection. But just because you don't mention it doesn't mean it isn't there. And we are required by law with certain things do come up. And I hit upon lead paint once, and I did have a property, I won't say exactly where, but it was on the South Shore. It was part antique and then a renovation on it, and we had a buyer for it. And it was a time when it was more difficult to sell. It wasn't when I was the owner of Boston Connector Real Estate. I was with another firm locally. And the buyer did the home inspection. It came back with lead, which I assumed. I mean, the antique part of the house was built in like 1840 or something, so I assumed it did. And the buyer asked for the seller to mitigate that lead paint, and they said no. I mean, you don't have to do it. I mean, you can forego that buyer or let that buyer take care of it themselves. The problem is when that buyer did walk away, I now know, and I have reports, that it has lead paint. And that seller asked me not to put it in MLS and not to disclose it. And I said, I cannot do that. And they said, well, we are hiring you, and we are telling you we do not want that listed. And I said, unfortunately, I can't do that, and I quit.
Toodaloo.
See you later.
Is what you said.
I'm not willing to lose my real estate license for somebody like that. No.
No. Why would you want to work with somebody like that?
And I didn't.
Anyways, so.
I didn't. Yeah. So there we go.
There we go. That was that story. So pre-home inspections, what were your thoughts during either that show or even now about a pre-home inspection? What is a pre-home inspection?
So a pre-home inspection is something that, as a homeowner, you could hire a home inspector to come into your home and do a home inspection. So we basically know, and there's two thoughts on this, and sometimes I don't know which way I really prefer. I guess you leave it up to the seller to make that decision, but the seller has the inspection before they go on the market. That way they know everything or potentially everything that is going to come up in the home inspection, that they can take the time to then repair it.
Yeah.
I guess good for people who can afford to repair it.
Yeah.
Bad for people who can't. Because in the state of Massachusetts, as a real estate agent, I have to disclose anything that an expert informs me of. In the state of Massachusetts, home inspectors are licensed with the state. That makes them an expert. So if I have that whole entire report, I have then got to, and those reports can be scary.
Yeah.
You look at them, and if you just read them, but if you're not walking around with the home inspector who says, this is something that maybe you might, down the line, you might want to change this out, you might want to do this, or they'll bring up things that aren't currently code, but they were code when it was built.
Yeah.
Just because you're buying a house today doesn't mean that it has to be to the code of today's standards with certain things. I mean, you can't have anything like that's going to cause a fire, obviously. So I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I was a hard no for pre-home inspections, and it's just, I would say, I would, if I was going to live in my home, I would probably do a home inspection. Like if I had to waive my home inspection, or I chose to waive my home inspection to get the property, it's signed, sealed, delivered, it's mine, I would do a home inspection then if I was going to, live in it and had the means to repair those things. But as a seller, I just think that the market that we're in doesn't necessarily call for it, because if the buyer wants a home inspection or wants to know what's going on, they'll put that in their offer.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. And again, I feel like we're back to that situation. And this is one of the items and topics that Mike and Jeremy were talking about on McNamara Financial's show this morning, McNamara Money, was where home buy, and I brought you up actually, where people who first-time home buyers are, because he brought up our niece is in the same exact, looking at the same exact price range as you, and how difficult it is. And you're both really good buyers where you've saved a lot, you're well-informed. But when you have over 30 offers, 50 offers on properties, it just puts you at this sort of disadvantage where people are now back to not having home inspections and waiving their inspections.
And I will say this. I know you said, I waived my home inspection because, I know a lot of people and, and that it made sense in your situation. It made sense when I put in the offer on the house in Hanson, and I waived my home inspection, even though I never thought that I ever would. I felt very comfortable doing it for that situation, but I want to preface this by saying we never advise anybody to waive their home inspection as a buyer. And when we say that we have a lot of people, we know a lot of professional people in the trades, and that's what they do. So it's not I know you like to say Uncle Joe. It's not our Uncle Joe coming in who, is an accountant, and he comes in and says, oh, this is structurally sound. You just don't know, because you're not, you're not a contractor. That's not something that you do. So we do know a lot of professional people who this is what they do. This is their livelihood. So they would never steer us wrong.
Who'd you bring in?
I brought in Mark McNamara, master plumber. Well, part of the house had been, all of the plumbing had been replaced and stuff. So that was obviously, it was pretty smart for us to bring in Mark. But it's so important that if you are going to bring in people, just know that those people know what they're talking about.
Well, and that's one of the things too, is some people were using as a strategy, they would say that they're not having a home inspection, and so their offer would get accepted. But when they were going to all their showings, they were bringing a home inspector with them. So, just sort of looking around and things like that. I'm not a fan of that either, because you're sort of skimming.
Well, I was just thinking about the 3-family that we did the open house for. I don't know. Was it before COVID, or was it during COVID? I don't even remember.
Before, yeah.
Sharon and Mary had a 3-family in Dorchester, and we had so many people come through, but a lot of people were coming through. They were investors, and they were coming in with contractors, and they just knew that it was priced right, that there were going to be a lot of people looking at it, and it was such a unique, interesting property, and especially like in a great area where somebody was going to come in and take that 3-family and turn it into 3 condos,
which is what they did.
But I think we got 27 offers maybe on that, 0 home inspections, and a lot of cash. But it was they felt confident in the property. It needed a lot of work, but they were bringing in people who were professional and that they were going to get into sort of business with, turning them into 3 condos. So. Yeah.
Phone number to the studio is 781-837-4900. We want your take on this. Do you think having a pre-home inspection makes sense if you are a seller? So we'd love to hear from you, 781-837-4900. Looks like we went a little bit past our time here for a break, but we're going to take one right now, and we will be right back.
Let's talk real estate with Sharon McNamara, broker and owner of Boston Connect Real Estate.
People often wonder if wintertime is a good time to buy a home. What do you think, Mary?
Sharon, here's what we found with our past buyer clients. While it's true there is less inventory on the market in the winter months, that also means that there's less competition for our buyers. And sellers tend to be highly motivated. That gives our buyers more negotiating power.
In our team's experience, it really isn't about the seasons at all. Sellers and buyers are always looking for each other, and it's our job to connect them. And that's what we do.
It's easy to connect with Sharon and Mary at bostonconnect.com or call 781-294-4848. That's 781-294-4848. We now return to Talk Real Estate, sponsored by Boston Connect Real Estate Services on 95.9 WATD.
And we are back. You are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. My name is Melissa Wallace, and I am joined in studio by the one and only Sharon McNamara.
Hello.
I needed a moment before I said all that because I always do it too soon, and Tim's always like, "You're too early.
Hold your fire.
Hold your fire." Right, Tim?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Every single time.
Every single time.
Every single time I'm too early. But
one of the things I also want to take a moment to announce a couple things. One, the Pembroke Chamber of Commerce, we're going to be having a meet and greet after hours event. It's going to be hosted here at Boston Connect Real Estate. That is going to be April 11th from 5 to 7 p.m. That is a Tuesday night. So what we will be doing during that show is we will be rotating some of the local businesses who are joining us. If you're already a member, those people will have first preference to come on the show, give us a little couple-minute intro into who they are and what their business is. If you come to the meet and greet and you're not yet a member of the Pembroke Chamber of Commerce, we would love to have you. We are revamping that. Sort of took a little bit of a sidebar there with COVID and everything. So we're getting that up and running and all kinds of exciting things going on with that again. But you can join that night and still get the opportunity to, and it's $125. $25 of that goes to the college, what do they call that?
College fund?
Scholarship, yeah, for Pembroke High School.
You had your eyes closed and your hand out like you
I was trying to find it.
Praying. You were trying to find it.
I was trying to find it.
Praying to St. Anthony.
So again, the meet and greet after hours Pembroke Chamber of Commerce event is going to be hosted by Boston Connect Real Estate. We're going to be there. One of the taglines I came up with is supporting business, uniting community. April 11th, 5 to 7 p.m. We are located at 19 Matakeesit Street in Pembroke Center, right across from Stop and Shop and CVS. We're a yellow building. I'm going to be putting on the holiday lights that never came down yet because Mark hasn't been able to get up on the roof since his surgery. So you will easily be able to find us, and we will have Millie in the front yard. And if you don't know who Millie is, you're in for a big surprise.
Come on over and meet her.
Yeah, come meet Millie.
Come meet Millie.
Yeah, she's from 1937. She's blue, and she is a Ford pickup truck. So if you want to come meet Millie, she will be here as well.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm distracted. I have so many people. You know what? I just have so many people reaching out. I've never met before. They don't owe me anything. They don't nothing. And I know my son works at Fenway. He's going to be there today. Where's your seed? Well, I saw this on my town page. I'm like, town page?
Yeah.
What town do you live in? I'm like, yeah. So
we're getting it out there everywhere. Yeah. So if you didn't hear the beginning of our show, Melissa went to opening day, had lots of fun. She was with Mary and Sam, who are both real estate agents here at Boston Connect. In fact, if you're an investor, you should be getting in touch with Sam Horton from our office. He does a meetup every month here in the office and has over 50 people, I think, at this point, speakers every month. Again, his name is Sam Horton. You can go onto our website, bostonconnect.com, and you'll find his, under the agents, you'll find him. And Mary Baker, of course, is my team member here.
Soon to be Mary Horton.
Yeah, soon to be Mary Horton. Exactly. Wow, that's only in 2 months. But so
I lost my ring.
Yeah, at the beginning of the show, we were talking how they went to the opening day, and Melissa's hands were frozen, and her clatter ring slipped off. And again, it's not the value of the clatter ring; it's the value of what it means to her, because her nana gave it to her when she turned 25 years old, and it's just something that can't be replaced. And I actually thought last night, I've been thinking about this, obviously. You saw my post I did last night while you were working. I can't get it out of my head. And my mom and dad are praying and everything. I called her yesterday on FaceTime, and I was going to bring my clattering in that Casey bought me while she was in Ireland, just for you to sort of hold on to and look at and just sort of envision the one that your Nana gave you coming back to you. But I thought it's just not going to mean the same to you, so I didn't do that.
Yeah, and I have it, like, I always wear 3 rings, and I haven't even been able to put on my other 2 rings because I'm like, their friend is gone. Like, I just can't. So.
Their friend is gone, yeah. So, again, if you were at the game, if you came upon a clatter, let us know. Okay, so we are talking about sort of the requirements that a seller needs to do or think about when they're selling the home. Right now we're talking about, it's not even a requirement. Do you do a pre-home inspection, or do you not? If you have any comments about this, 781-837-4900, or you can go on to Boston Connect Real Estate's page on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Boston Connect, and ask us a question there. Melissa is scrolling through. And I'm so torn about whether I think that you should or you shouldn't. And again, because we are a caveat emptor, I would be more worried if we had, if one of my seller clients hired a home inspector to do a home inspection, and let's just say they didn't use somebody I referred, that they decided that they wanted to do their own. I would just really be worried about that same liability of going back and them saying, all right, well, you knew that there was a crack in the foundation. Why did you not know that there was radon?
Yeah.
I'd be too afraid that something would be missed, that the liability would be more on that. Any attorneys are listening, I'd love to know your take on that as well. I mean, I just feel like I'm putting myself in a position.
I just feel like it's a domino effect.
Yeah.
Like, you always say, a buyer is always looking for what's wrong, not for what's right.
Yeah.
So if a seller is doing that too, I don't know. I just feel like it's a no from me.
Yeah, I think it's a hard no for me too. I think if you already know and you have the means to take care of it, then take care of it. Mold, for instance, there are many, many times I go through homes and mold has to be tested for you to know, but I've been through so many homes in the last 21 years that I look in an attic and I can usually say, potentially that black-like substance is mold. You should have that looked at and have it remediated beforehand. And then you have a certificate that it's good for 10 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you just tell the seller. You don't even have to at that point because you've taken care of the issue. The bigger thing with mold is, how did the mold get there? Did you fix the reason you have the mold?
Yeah, exactly. Did I say that at the end? I think,
I don't know.
You got to fix. So, here's the thing. You got a problem. I found out that I have a problem. Well, what are you going to do about it? You can get rid of the problem, but you got to fix the reason why you got the problem in the first place.
Exactly. And a lot of times the mold in the attic is generally no ventilation. I see people make this mistake all the time. They put insulation in where their ridge vents are, thinking, I can see sunlight and daylight. I should clog those. No, those are there on purpose because it goes up your baffles and out your ridge vent. Sounds like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And then remember when we were looking at the house in Hanson and Mark went up in the attic? Oh, of course, none of us wanted to go in the attic beforehand. He's like, "Have you gone in the attic?" And we're like,
Oh, good idea.
No. Yeah, good idea, Mark. Get
We
up there.
literally became buyers at that moment.
Yeah.
All of us were like,
Oh,
look
no.
at this, look at that. Look, it has new rug.
Beautiful. And he goes up in the attic and he's like, "Oh yeah, the windows are open." I'm like, "Why are the windows open?" And he's like, "Oh, they're probably open all the time." And I'm like, "Why would your windows be open all the time?" But it was for ventilation.
And he noticed there was no ridge vent on that house.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So thanks, Mark. Thanks for getting into the
Yeah,
attic.
there's been many reasons that have come up that we're sort of happy that house didn't become yours. But,
Yeah.
So with that, and the other big thing I see with mold is that it's something simple like the vent in your bathroom to take the steam out when you're taking a shower. Sometimes it disconnects.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people put a lot of crap up in their attic, right? All the Christmas crap goes up there, or the
Crap. You can't call people's stuff crap.
I can. It's my crap too. I mean, I have all that crap.
Yeah, but you don't have it in your attic anymore.
I don't. I cleaned out my attic. Hey, we are simplifying life. I keep on saying I'm just preparing for when I die that everybody can just easily
access the things that they're getting.
Yeah, I have little sticky notes all over. You should come over one day. Tell me what you want.
Oh yeah, where are all the bags? Well, don't tell everybody where they are.
No, I'm not going to tell everybody where all the Louis Vuitton bags are. That's what Melissa wants. But yeah, so sometimes if you bump that, it could become loose, and then you have all that steam just going into your attic. So that's something to be thinking about. So. Yeah. Nobody wants to call us today, but that's okay. Maybe they're going through their house wondering what they can do to sell. One of the things that we've been doing in our office, and we do all the time, we have a newsletter that goes out to our agents every Friday that's done by Julia Hannon. She is our administrative coordinator here at Boston Connect Real Estate. And we have, what's new on the market, what's coming soon, and what agents are looking for. So we have so many agents that have buyers that are pre-approved, ready to go. Melissa herself could close in 2 weeks, and I am seriously thinking about doing the dating game. What do they call that? That quick dating game?
Speed dating?
Speed dating. I'm going to do speed dating here. We're going to have an event one Thursday night and just have like cocktails and appetizers. And if you're thinking about selling your house, we're just going to have all the buyers hanging out saying, yeah, I'm ready. Here's my pre-approval. And we'll have loan officers here and attorneys here. And we'll say, yeah, look, they are really pre-approved. And this is what we've done to get their pre-approval, and they're good to go. So we're going to connect buyers with sellers. But Ginny Wandell is in the office every Saturday morning from 10 until about 12. She does coffee with Ginny. So if you have any questions about real estate, you can pop by the office any Saturday. She is generally here. She has a sign out with balloons that are drooping right now because of the rain. But you know what? You have some questions about real estate. You are thinking about buying. You're thinking about selling. You don't know what the beginning steps are. She's here to take and answer any of your questions. But she has a list of buyers that want, that are looking for houses. But in particular, she has one client in particular that has something to sell, and she will sell her house if she can find something.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
I got to ask if this orange part is the sellers.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah. Do you hope to right size? What kind of home are you looking to move to? Sellers are ready to move from. Okay, so I have well cared for 3-bedroom Cape in Weymouth between $5,000 and $550.
Yeah. Non-MLS.
Non-MLS. Well cared for 2-bedroom cottage in Pembroke, $425, $450. Non-MLS.
Non-MLS.
Well cared for 3-bedroom split level ranch, Pembroke, non-MLS, $580, $590. Needs some TLC 2-bedroom farmhouse in East Bridgewater, $320 to $340, non-MLS.
Yeah.
This says mom MLS, but I'll let it slide.
So that's the other thing. That's sort of the predicament we're in with a lot of our clients is they have a house that they're going to be selling, but they're not in a very good position because they own a house already for their offer to get accepted with multiple offers. But give Ginny a call or swing by the office if any of that is sounds appealing to you. She's here generally every Saturday from 10 to 12. And you can go onto our website, bostonconnect.com, and get Ginny's information directly off of our website. Send her a little message.
Faith Birmingham, who is a full-time realtor here at Boston Connect Real Estate, says, "Hi, morning, ladies."
Good
Hi,
morning.
Faith. Good morning,
Yeah.
Faith.
Yeah, Faith has been out there just hitting the pavement and talking to all kinds of people, doing all kinds of CMAs for people, and she's doing a great job.
Yeah.
It's hard when you move companies. I maybe that's what we have a show on when agents
Realtors move too.
Yeah, realtors move too, but I hope that we're making the transition for the agents that do move to our office easier. We give them a checklist of all their profiles and where they need to be changing things and all that, but it's a lot of work to do that. Mm-hmm. So we just have about 8 minutes left. Some of the other things, so we talked about the property disclosure. Last week we talked about the Title V inspection. Do you have to have that as a seller? No, you don't. But if you have a buyer who's going to be getting a loan, which is probably, then no bank is going to loan money if you don't know if that Title V has passed. So that's why it tends to be the buyers, the seller does take care of that. And bring up the point that you brought to why you, as a seller, you would want to know before you put a price on it.
Oh, yeah. You're not always going to get dollar for dollar back on, a Title V or, if you have to replace your septic system. So if you get your Title V done before you put your house on the market and it fails and you have to replace it, you can get a couple quotes and just sort of determine how much that is going to be, because you might put your house on the market for a little bit higher. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get dollar for dollar back, but you can market the property saying this is going to have a brand new, 3-4 bedroom septic system, whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's very appealing to buyers.
Very, very appealing. Yeah. You made the point last week. I mean, one of the properties you looked at had a 50-year-old system, and that really made you hesitant. That was in Halifax, because you're like, all right, the life of that is probably coming near. So you didn't want that responsibility.
It wasn't an expense that I wanted to take on just because it was being sort of not neglected, but just not taken care of by somebody else.
Mm-hmm. The other thing we talked last week a little bit about is the smoke and carbon monoxide detectors and how you have to have that inspected. And we had a little conversation about that. When do you do it? I know Kristen Howlett brought that up. She was listening. She's a full-time real estate agent here at Boston Connect, and she actually did the show on Tuesday. She is a regular co-host here with Melissa, generally on Tuesday nights. I see that my best friend is watching too right now. So hello, Kimberly Ross Laterio. Love you. I sort of broke my date with them last night. I felt bad about it, but there's been a lot going on in my life.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, let me not cry right now, okay? One of the other things, too, that the seller in the state of Massachusetts, you're required to prepare the deed. Mm-hmm. So when you are doing that, also, too, one of the things my office does is we do not do the purchase and sales agreement. I mean, we have a very standard form that we have from the state of Massachusetts that sort of fill in the blanks. As real estate brokers, we're allowed to do that, just filling in the blanks. But it's so basic and so bare that we opted not to do that as a company, because we feel that sellers, for the most and best protection, they should be having their attorneys doing it, because they use that form and then they add all of these addendums to it. So that is another cost that is associated with selling your home. And then they will also prepare the new deed. So you prepare the deed as the seller, and the new buyer records it. And then I'm going to bring this up. A lot of people don't know, but state tax stamps. Mm-hmm. So for every $1,000 that you sell your house for, you have to pay $4.56 per $1,000. So that's something that a lot of people don't think about. So if you're selling, I'd have to do the math. I need a calculator. So here, you talk about something while I do it.
Should we do the Jeopardy sound?
So if you sold your house for $500,000, you would then owe the state $2,280, and that, they make it really convenient for you. They take it right off the top, right at the closing, so you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, they take it right. That's the first thing they take.
Yeah, it's $4.56, which it used to be before that. Prior to that, it was $2.28, and I believe it was when Dukakis was governor. He's the one that doubled it. That was a long time. You probably don't even know who he is. So.
I've heard the name.
You weren't even born when they made that. So,
oh, we have a caller.
Yes, we have John Valiente.
Hello, John. How are you?
Hey, Sharon. I just wanted to congratulate you for getting the chamber back going there in Pembroke.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm one of the guys here in Marshfield. South Shore Signs is my business, and probably 30 years ago, with the help of Ed Perry, we revamped the Marshfield Chamber long ago.
Awesome. Well, maybe you can come as a Marshfield member. Maybe you can come to our event, which is going to be here at our office, and we'd love to have you to come on and talk about your business.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to congratulate you for doing that, though, because, you know, Pembroke and Marshfield, Scituate, we used to always do a lot of things back in the old days.
Well, I hope that we can do that again. I'm really looking forward to it. And it's a perfect time in my life. I sort of took a back seat for a while because, I had so much going on with my girls. But now they're 27 and 28 and don't need me as much. So, and then, you know what? It's interesting because the tagline that I came up with, we're sort of revamping our logo and stuff, is supporting businesses and uniting community. So I think that that's really what it's all about.
That's great. That's great. And congratulations for doing that. And just wanted to wish you all the best.
All right, perfect. Thank you. And if you are around April 11th, we would love to see you at our meet and greet. It's going to be here at Boston Connect Real Estate. So we'd love to see you.
Thanks. Thank
All
you.
right.
Good luck.
Thank you. So that's a good way for us to sort of end, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll mention it again. The Pembroke Chamber of Commerce is being revamped with Peter Brown. He has been the chair for several years. He does such a good job. Everybody knows Tiny and Sons. You've heard their commercials.
His boys do a good job.
They do a good job, and he is wonderful. He is so into the community and giving back to all of the South Shore communities. So we love Peter Brown. Of course, he'll be here on April 11th, and I just sort of called him one day and said, hey, can I sort of come back and help try to get this back together with everybody. So it isn't just me. It's a lot of other people doing a lot of hard work. Emmy Flaherty is one of our agents here at Boston Connect Real Estate. She's part of the chamber. Ginny Wandell, who is here, she is part of the chamber as well. I know Sue Bollinger is very interested. She'll be coming to the event. So it will be April 11th, 5 to 7, 19 Mattakesett Street, right in Pembroke Center.
Yeah, and it's a Tuesday night, so we're going to be doing our show live as well. So if you are in the community or you own a business or you're interested in learning some more information or want to come on our show as a guest, please show up with April 11th, 5 to 7.
It's for members and non-members.
For members and non-members, anybody.
Yep.
Anybody out there.
If you have a business, we want to support you. And and we'll be talking about it again on Tuesday. And we'll be back. Myself and Melissa will be back on Tuesday. And then next Saturday, I'll be on with Alyssa McNamara on McNamara on Money. She will be coming on for about a half hour of our show before she takes off to do some family stuff. So we hope that you can join us. We'll be talking all things real estate. But if you need us in the meantime, please go to bostonconnect.com. We're here for you 7 days a week. And you can get in touch with one of our agents. Again, Ginny is here from 10 to 12. So you come on by. And anything else?
No. 781-826-8000.
We'll see you next week, or we'll see you Tuesday. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye, Tim.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
WATD FM Marshfield, WBMS Brockton.